99.7 FM.
Manya will be a mayor. Me and I met me a true story. Will be metron of a Bianchi count. Me di me lame one. I bro no ma. Fly high for my food, peace of mind.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Timim faho, baby. Mon frère fils, I don't baby mune. Mon famo di no men so me baka beba me mpabu. I won't quit camera man. Oh yo. Mon frère ma me sa don't baby mune. Mon famo di no men so me baka beba me mpabu. I won't quit camera man. Your person will buy me yaseno. Na yasena mi frantoma. Ubo mi dia
Joy 99.7 FM.
Me ya baby di shepa. Your person will buy me yaseno. Na yasena mi frantoma. Ubo mi dia ya for hene count. Baby di she. Me ya baby di shepa. Ade amazing, ade ameti. Yase macha wo kwen na so mempere. Time on call you minim. Ubi ansu be. Ubi enya ni sika no unim kwan koro. Bi bonem kwan unim nam koro. Enti sa wuti pupu a wo bi di bi anako bi nkwan. Hey, free like a butterfly, searching for my peace of mind. Where you can't jam me a bye bye. Me so me go so nam kwan so.
That's right.
Free like a butterfly, searching for my peace of mind.
I'm a winner man, I'm a rado.
Me so me go so nam kwan so. Your person will buy me yasin.
Yeah, so this week we're talking about sleep and sleep disorders. It's bedtime battle. And if there's a night that you didn't sleep too well, does that make that abnormal or upsetting? I'm in the studio with Dr. Samuel Asomeni. He's a physician specialist, senior resident in respiratory medicine with the Department of Medicine and Therapeutics of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We're going to be learning about sleep. What exactly is it? Is it important? Is it necessary? We know it is preloaded manufacturer's software. But we play games with it. We try to, should I say, prolong it, delay it, you know what, right? That's what we're talking about. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Sleep. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess this is the first time I've had you on my show.
Yes.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Ziggy, can you just boost his mic? And I think he's a bit on the low side. Yeah, but I've just been giving an intro. We know we all sleep at some point, even if we want to fight it. So am I right in saying this is God's preloaded software?
Well, you may not be wrong because it appears that all higher forms of life, sleep. So it is not strange. And if you look at what goes on and what probably we derive from it, then it becomes a necessity that it's not only restricted to only humans.
Okay. So we must sleep. It's there. God was not mistaken when he put sleep in the system, right? But what is sleep? And when we sleep, are we, can I say, unconscious? What really is sleep? How can we define it?
Well, simply, when you sleep, it's like it's a state of conscious unconsciousness.
All right, semi-consciousness.
Yes, so it's like you are arousable, but you are still detached from, what goes on around. But you can easily be aroused from that state, and that makes it different from disease state where somebody is not responsive to their environment. And this definitely is a physiological state.
Okay.
Yes.
So physiologically, I'm asleep. Right? I'm not as consciously aware of my external surroundings, what goes on around me, but like a mother wakes up to the cry of her baby. In secondary school, we had something where we wait till you get to a certain stage of sleep. We ask you for your keys and then we go raid your chobox. We called it mafioso. But you are arousable, so you are not unconscious.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So defining it as a physiological state, right, means that something changes in the body, right? And that causes us to sleep. Okay. Can we have a look at what makes us sleep? Having established that it will happen, what makes us sleep?
Right. It appears that higher form of life, like humans, we have innate clock mechanism that keeps us either awake or sleep. And so you are at one point awake, and then another point you may be in a state where you are sleeping. And this cycle is what usually we refer to as the circadian rhythm, and it's not only particular for sleeping. It controls other physiological states in the body, one of which is sleep. So during that, it's like as you grow, your body gets, as it were, keyed in or tuned to your environment, and then also the internal environment.
So the external environment,
yes,
if you can help me, Doc, helps to establish this sleep-wake cycle.
Definitely.
Right. This must alternate. There are times we must be awake, and there are times we must be in that sleep state. And there's something, the circadian rhythm is a kind of a clock, right, or a software that regulates this. Okay. Now, I'm asking this because depending on where you are, you kind of fix this roughly according to what we know to be night and day.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
So is it that daylight affects this cycle?
Yes. So daylight definitely affects the cycle, and that particular clock, if you want to put it that way, is a part of the brain.
Okay.
And that is sensitive to the intensity of the environmental, light.
Okay.
And so it what is incident on the eye goes to the brain.
Okay.
And therefore the brain interprets this, to be either day or, darkness or night.
Okay.
And that together with chemical stimuli within your body prepares you to be alert, or prepares you to wind down in a state that ushers you into sleep.
Right. Great stuff.
Yes,
folks, if you've just joined us, about 13 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. The program, as always, on a Sunday afternoon is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living, with me, Nortey by nature. I'm in the presence of Dr. Asomeni, Samuel Asomeni. He's a physician specialist and he's a senior resident in respiratory medicine. We are dissecting, we are staying awake to understand sleep. We want to first, prepare a foundation where you understand what sleep is first and foremost, what it should look like if it is normal or typical, and then we can veer into troubled sleep. Or sleep disorders or parasomnias as we know them, right? The typical normal sleep is what we're discussing now, what it should look like, what triggers it, what makes it happen, okay? So that from there we can understand and contrast and compare what we may call disordered or troubled sleep, all right? If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly I will activate the phone lines, and if you are awake you can get Doc directly. All right, Doc, so having said that, so there's a combination, a collaboration of internal systems, chemicals or neurochemicals and so on that relate to external stimulation and other things, and that brings about sleep. Okay, so does that mean that we were designed and programmed to sleep only at night?
Well, that mechanism in your body can be adapted to suit your condition.
Okay.
But it appears that default design is that because the side that controls this is sensitive to light, then the default is to say that people were designed to sleep when the intensity of environmental light goes down.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes this same place can be tuned, and therefore people have almost like a reversal. People sleep during the day, some people
for different reasons.
Yes, for different reasons.
Okay, so we've learned we've grabbed the remote control from God, and we can play hanky-panky with sleep.
Yes, if you do it well, no problem. Sometimes if you don't do it well, then it causes problems.
All right. So not only did we invent artificial light, now we can play games with what we can do and the duration. Okay. Some people and some theorists said, for evolutionary reasons, it was safer for us to be asleep at times when it is dark because our predators have better eyesight. So, is there an evolutionary purpose of sleep or function?
Well, it's if you look at where humans, have evolved from and so on, of course, in those days, we wouldn't see this light that we see here during the night. And so during the night, activity levels were low, and therefore people had to wind down and so on.
Okay.
So in which case, at that time, definitely sleeping around that time when everything is dark, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the design really makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So, folks, if you've just joined us, we're talking about sleep with Dr. Sumeni from Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's a senior resident in respiratory medicine. And we are considering the architecture. What makes sleep happen physiologically, even behaviorally? What happens to make you sleep? I know some of you sleep when you don't want to. It can be quite embarrassing. Some of you are known legendary bulldozers. Yes, you sleep anywhere, anyhow, even in church, right? But we're trying to understand the mechanism, and then from that understanding, move from that premise to where that mechanism can malfunction. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly I will activate the phone lines on account or assumption that you are awake. All right, so we understand that part. Okay, there's a whole play around this. So when we sleep, is there a purpose? Okay, we've understood that it's supposed to be there, but what will happen to me if I don't sleep? I mean, hey, okay, God, dear God, please, I'm a very busy person, so can I shut down, sleep, and be okay? Right.
It appears that humans and therefore higher forms of life were designed to have sleep.
Okay.
Because we can infer this from what happens when we are deprived of sleep.
Okay.
Now, so technically, if you look at the purpose of sleep, even though debatable, it appears that it allows the brain to reset itself.
Okay.
Where, certain areas are, naturally balanced.
Okay.
Okay, in its function, and we think that it allows the brain also to get rid of, products, if you like, metabolic products that may have formed during your wakeful time.
Right.
And as you wind down and sleep, those things are gotten rid of. And then also allow certain purposes of the brain to be reset. For instance, it consolidates memory.
All right.
It helps you to be able to memorize what happened in the day.
Okay.
And therefore also to be able to delete certain things that don't need to be kept.
Right.
Apart from that, it also helps in cognition.
Right.
Okay, so you are able to become alert, ability to remember, ability to focus, and therefore keep at what you are doing and do it optimally.
Right.
You get that right so when you are able to have some sleep.
Sleep is essential for good body and mind functioning.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
But you were going on to you hinted that in the absence of sleep or lack of sleep can lead to some serious health consequences.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't sleep. I'm stubborn. I stay awake. Maybe I'm watching a favorite movie or it's all night or whatever. What will happen to me? What's the cost? What's the consequence health-wise?
Well, a number of things. You realize that when you keep awake, it's like you kept the brain very busy throughout the day.
Okay.
And so you realize even your ability to focus and concentrate on simple tasks become problematic.
It diminishes, right.
And therefore, even sometimes you realize the ability to remember basic things, sometimes you struggle. So that tells you that at the brain level, you are not doing yourself good if you had to, deprive yourself of that. And then you also become a bit irritable.
Okay.
Very simple things,
So lack of sleep can affect your mood.
Yes, it definitely affects your mood and
irritable.
how you respond to people around you and so on.
Okay.
Right. So you can become very irritable and you get easily angered and you become very emotional and so on. And then also apart from that, you get tired. Then you stay awake for a long time. You feel lack of energy.
Okay.
You are tired, and you tend to sleep the next day.
Okay.
You can't cheat nature. Sometimes we
you
try
pay
to
your debt.
Definitely, you incur some
No
nature.
haircut.
Definitely.
Okay.
So you tend to be, and that puts you at risk.
Okay.
It causes a lot of problems at work. So for instance, if you're operating machinery, you can definitely get yourself injured or cause other people to be injured. So that in itself, and then also we know the sleep deprivation is associated with a lot of cardiovascular disorders.
Okay.
And even metabolic disorders, and of course psychological problems.
Let me break that down into digestible chunks. So if it can cause disorders, we're saying sleep impairment, lack of sleep, sleep deprivation to a certain degree is related to cardiovascular disorders and other illnesses.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly. And for instance, when you sleep, you realize that certain activities of your body are really on the low side.
Okay.
And this is good for recovery of the body.
Right.
And conserving. Yes, restoration. And those things are very good for your cardiovascular health. For instance, when you sleep, significantly, your pulse goes down, your blood pressure goes down. And this allows your cardiovascular system to recover and prepare you for the next day.
Right.
So assuming you are all out, and it means that usually your sympathetics are working so hard and so on, and therefore that kind of balance that you would have gotten during sleep is lost, and if it continues over a long time, you are going to be at risk of incurring cardiovascular disease.
Great stuff. If you just joined us, 23 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm awake and my name is Nortey by nature. My guest is also awake. He is Dr. Samuel K. Asomani. He's a senior physician specialist. He's a senior resident in respiratory medicine. Yes, this has a lot to do with your physical system as well. Okay, so we're talking about sleep, and we're still on sleep, as a physiological phenomenon, a state of semi-consciousness. You are gone, but you haven't gone, right? We'll get to states and stages and cycles of sleep. Those transitions where you are asleep, but you're not ready to agree you are asleep. Mindae, ade, right? They are all known transitions in the sleep, should I say, landscape or geography, and they can be identified, and they are supposed to be there. Okay, we have to do all that, tidy up on that, understand that before we get to your sleep disorders. I know you're going to be bombarding us with why you can't sleep and what happens and all those, but we'll take our time to get there. This is not yet talking about sleep, but I can sleep the whole day and sleep deeply the whole night on regular basis. Should I be worried? Ifwa is sending that. Good afternoon, Nortey. My problem is when I sleep in the afternoon for about an hour, I will not sleep in the night. Why? Henrietta Mantes shares that. Okay. I'm sure you all have some you want to share. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. This is a serious topic. Okay. So we want to do due diligence, right? Due diligence, so that we understand, because many of you are taking substances or tablets, supplements, all sorts of wine and other things in that bedtime battle that you have. We want to establish what really a conclusive disorder or problem is and what is not. All right. Okay. Doc, I understand and I hear. Let me just read this. Good afternoon, Nortey. Thanks for the program. Does age affect the hours of sleep? Oh, that's a good one. Right. What are the likely dangers if I don't get the required hours of sleep? All right. This is Grace Combi, and thanks for sharing that. So, yes, sleeping the same hours as everybody else is like wearing the same size of shoe. Right. But, Doc, how much sleep do you recommend, or should we be getting normally? And is this impacted by age?
All right, thank you very much. Sleep, definitely the duration varies according to your age. For instance, people who are newborns, they sleep almost all the time.
Yeah.
And they wake
up, make noise.
Definitely.
They are fed and then they go back to sleep.
Definitely.
Right.
And as they get to about age one to about 3, you realize that their sleep need, decreases. So instead of sleeping almost 18 hours a day as an infant, between about 1 to 3, it decreases to about, sometime around 12 hours. And then as they get to about 6, 6, let's say 6 to about 12, some of them do 9 to about 12 hours.
Okay.
And then between, let's say, 13 to about 18, all right, they may be doing about 8 to 10 hours. But definitely adults, 18 years and above, we know that what have been supported by evidence as optimum is usually between 7 to 9.
All right.
Hours of
So it's
sleep.
a range.
Yes, it's a range
that we should be getting.
Definitely. And as you age, your ability to sleep really decreases.
Is it the ability or your need for sleep?
In fact, your need will reduce, and of course also sometimes becomes difficult to fall asleep as you age.
Right.
So for instance, we are suggesting adults about 7 to 9. You realize that people who are, let's say, 65 and above, some of them may do 5 and they are cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. 27 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. Infants, sometimes we say those with developing nervous systems and brains, they sleep a lot more and they need it. They require it. Right? It helps in the development of the brain. As you get older, you need more and more, to approach the normal range for adults, right? And Doc was just giving us the age-related, should I say, characteristics and features, right, with regard to duration. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997, and shortly I will activate the phone lines. I see my WhatsApp is busy. Yeah, so this is good stuff we need to talk about. Okay, so as we get older, the range and the duration will change. Okay, we get less sleep. So we may be getting less than recommended, but we are okay. We are not in trouble yet.
Yes. So what happens is that depends on how much the person is sleeping, compared to the required.
Okay.
Because we require, say, 7 hours to about 8 hours. But if you are really not getting near there, definitely the next day you have symptoms of sleep deprivation or inability to sleep.
Okay. All right. So great stuff. Right. Okay. We've understood that. Okay. So when I do sleep, thankfully, right, should it follow a particular pattern? I know a car has a gearbox, so it changes gears. Is sleep the same the whole night through, or the whole, should I say, sleep episode through, or are there distinct parts that we can identify and understand for their features?
Right. So there are different stages of sleep. Now, for instance, if you are talking about adults, usually we may distinguish between 2 types of sleep. We have the so-called non-repetitive eye movement sleep, which occupies about 75% to about 8% of adult sleep in total. And then we have the repetitive eye movement. These have certain meanings. And what it is that usually most adults in good health would enter sleep, from wakefulness. Then you go through the first stage of the non-repetitive, and then it transits all the way to stage 4. And then you enter into what we call the repetitive eye movement.
Okay.
And these are increasing depth of sleep. So stage 1 means that you are getting into sleep. You can easily be, awoken.
First gear.
Yes.
Stage 1.
Definitely.
Okay.
But somebody in, say, stage 4 is deeper sleep. And it may take more effort to wake that person up.
Okay.
And what happens is that this recycles itself. So it cycles in health is about 4 to about 6 times of cycles in the period of your sleep.
Okay.
Yes, but in infants, they may not enter into sleep, through the so-called non-repetitive eye movement. Some of them will just go straight for newborns. They go straight into the repetitive eye movement type of
you've
sleep.
Given us a lot to digest. All right. And I'm going to try and, get you to break it down. So what we've said essentially is that there's lighter sleep and it shifts through the night to deeper sleep. Okay. And then you've mentioned the occurrence of eye movements. Now, many of my listeners will be wondering, well, eye movement, Chale, Makata menu. My eyes are closed. What is Doc talking about? Can we just explain that? And then you also said that during the night we will alternate between lighter and deeper sleep, and typically we'll get about 4 or 5 cycles. So we don't stay in deep sleep till we wake up, right? So it's like an airplane climbing and then descending, and the pilot is the brain. Okay, so can we break it down? When you mention repetitive eye movements, what are you talking about?
Right, so there's a way of monitoring somebody sleeping.
Okay.
And if we were to monitor somebody sleeping using electrodes, and we place one on your eye,
okay,
during certain stage of your sleep, you will realize that the muscles that control your eye will be moving, even though you are not aware.
Right.
So that is what we call the repetitive eye movement
repetitive
sleep.
Or rapid eye movement.
Yes, and that consists of about maybe in total of your sleep about 25%. So it doesn't stay there. When you the first step may be lasting for about say 10 minutes.
So
and then it will shift to lighter one, and cycles through that.
We can monitor these changes.
Yeah, we can use monitors to monitor.
So my eyes moving under my eyelids.
Yes.
During
even
sleep
though you are sleeping. Yes.
Is a normal expected feature of sleep.
Definitely.
Okay.
That is normal.
But alongside those eye movements, there are certain other things that happen when those eye movements are present.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So that's me falling or transitioning into sleep. Okay. Right. Then you mentioned that we alternate between lighter and deeper sleep. Okay. You and I know stage 1 to 4. But for our listeners, what does that mean?
Right. So it means that once you get into sleep, your brain would slow down its activity.
Okay.
And that, cuts you off all the distractions.
Okay.
And so it means that it becomes difficult for you to be aware of what is happening immediately.
Okay.
And that gets you into deeper.
So progressively,
definitely,
you are losing more and more consciousness.
That's right.
And awareness. And
towards your environment.
Okay.
Yes. And you get to deeper realms. And then you shift into what we call the repetitive eye movement.
Okay.
And that one usually is also a form of deep. But that one, what happens is that instead of, say, your heart rate being slow during that particular repetitive eye movement, you realize that the heart rate begins to pick up, blood pressure begins to pick up, and then the eye begins to move.
Okay.
And stays there for some minutes, and then it transitions back and recycles itself.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, folks, you're being helped to understand this. It's about 33 minutes past the hour of 2. So during any given sleep episode, okay, I don't want to say night or day, right? What your brain does is gradually it loses consciousness, right? When you are conscious, you are awake and aware, okay? And in lighter sleep, you've lost only a little. And then in the stages that Doc is talking about, you're losing more and more consciousness until you get to deep sleep. You are not unconscious, right? But that deep loss of consciousness is, should I say, required for all the things that are to be replenished and, rejuvenated and all that restored to take place. So in light sleep, you are about to charge your phone, okay? But you haven't put it on the charger. In deep sleep, you've put it on the charger, and Doc is telling us that during those stages, there's more restoration and repair going on. If you are a light sleeper, you don't get to that level, and therefore you can wake up and still feel, Charlie, I'm tired, right? Oh, Doc, am I?
You are right.
That's right.
You are right.
Okay. So the stages of sleep also indicate when we are replenishing, recharging. Okay, and we must get the full complement of light and deep sleep. Or
definitely, because that constitutes what we call the quality. Because somebody may spend 8 hours, but almost be around first stage of sleep.
Okay,
and so such a person could easily be distracted.
Okay,
it's all as if he's asleep, but he's still aware of something happening in the environment. That doesn't give the person a full rest that he's supposed to have gotten. So he may wake up and still feel unrested.
Okay, great. Right. So the pilot doesn't just drop the plane. Okay, even though you accelerated to take off and get to certain 33,000 feet altitude, right? These gear changes are supposed to be smooth and seamless, but they are important because they tell us the quality of your sleep. not just the duration, not how long you slept or how soft your mattress was, right? These are physiological changes that Doc is explaining must take place for us to benefit from sleep and for us to say the quality of sleep is good. This is important because we'll get to something he will tell us is sleep hygiene, right? To make sure that we understand where we're going. This one says, hi Nortey, I'm a rheumatoid arthritis patient. I realized since I was a child around 10 years of age, I've been unable to write, especially with my right hand when I wake up at any time of the day. I still have this problem till date. I'm over 35 years now. Could it be that I am not having enough sleep? So this person is sharing something that happens not long after waking up, right? She's not able to write properly, so she's looking at her coordination, motor coordination of her hand and arm, and she relates this to sleep and, waking up shortly after sleep. She also says, or I think it's a she, I twitch uncontrollably when I sleep or when I'm getting in deep into sleep. What could be the cause of it? Is this myoclonus? You've given yourself away by using myoclonus, but we'll explain that. Not please, my two friends, Eric and Chris, can snore like what? I can't see. Can snore like something. Anything, please, any remedy for them. This is from Dart in Asylum Down. Okay, we haven't gotten to snoring yet, but I will ask Doc. So this is somebody who says she has some form of challenge. She relates it to sleep, and it's perhaps a problem she encounters when she wakes up, and she's had this since, or he or she has had this since age 10, and they're 35 now.
Right, so the disease you mentioned has a characteristic that could be likened to what she's describing. When you wake up, you get stiffness of the joints of the finger, the small joints. So that one will not necessarily be related to sleep, but usually it's a feature of the rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay, all right. So it's. I mean, the person doesn't say they had the rheumatoid arthritis or were diagnosed in childhood.
Okay.
But you are saying this is a known feature?
Yes, it's a known feature
of RA.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And then somebody's asking about snoring and if there's a treatment or a cure. Okay. Should we get into that now or should we follow our path?
Oh, well, if we want us to answer that one.
Let's answer it.
Right. So snoring could be related to a problem, and it could be just a simple snoring.
Okay.
Yes. So somebody may.
You mean there's simple snoring and there's complicated snoring?
Yes. So there could be snoring that is not related to a typical what we would call sleep, disorder, like obstructive sleep apnea.
Right.
Somebody may just snore without significant obstruction to the upper airway.
Okay.
And therefore it doesn't disrupt, their autonomic systems while they sleep. It just become a nuisance to.
It's a nuisance to your roommate, your partner.
That's right.
Whether willing or unwilling.
Yes, but anybody who has significant disruptive snoring must be evaluated to see whether that is in connection with an underlying undiagnosed sleep problem.
Right. Let's get into the physiology of it. There's air moving through the windpipes, right, to my lungs and so on and so forth. When I exhale, of course, it's coming through my nose.
Yes.
So the snoring or the audible snoring is evidence of the resistance to the physiological structures.
Definitely. So once you sleep, you realize that your airway patency, in other words, the opening close a bit, so increases the resistance as you put it.
Okay.
And so as air gets in and out,
right,
all right, it causes the structures in the back of your throat to vibrate. And that vibration produces that particular sound that comes with snoring.
So on a certain level, you can snore, which is evidence of the movement of air against those anatomical structures, right?
Yes.
But you also used a term. You said disruptive snoring. So now that snoring is affecting something. Can you just explain that?
Yeah. So what I said, disruptive snoring
not disruptive to your partner, but you're talking about your sleep and your body. Yeah.
Yes. So somebody may have this snoring, and it is because of an undiagnosed problem, like commonly obstructive airway or what we call obstructive sleep apnea.
Right.
And when that happens, significant closure intermittently of the upper airway, and that may also be associated with snoring. That particular one has consequence, unlike what we may call simple snoring.
Okay. Great start for Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. Let me wake up the phone line 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. You can push those buttons and you will have Doc Samuel Asomeni on the end of the line to answer your questions. I have an old lady who doesn't sleep. In the night, she can get up around 11 p.m., have her bath, and be roaming in the hall. Same during the day as well. She is 77. This is from Charity, right? You want to comment on that, or?
Right. So, if for instance the whole day she never slept, never even had a nap, and the same thing happens in the night, this person needs to be evaluated because sometimes it could be underlying, medical condition.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So this needs to be checked. Let me see. I got a couple more. Ooh, plenty. This one says, why is it in black? Okay, we've read that. Okay, that was the myoclonus one. Another one says, Doc, I can't sleep after... Okay, I see black stars there. That is not related to your sleep, I hope. All right. I can't sleep after 11. I lie in bed till morning. It's something I've noticed happens anytime I sleep after 11. What is the problem? This is from Nana. So before 11, what are you doing? Okay, but Doc, any comment on this?
Right, so there are different levels of inability to sleep, which we may call insomnia.
Right.
Some people find it difficult falling asleep, and others also find it difficult maintaining sleep. So, for instance, will she be sleeping before 11, or is just that when she stays up to about 11, she can't fall asleep?
Right.
So, if that is the case, then it means that she may have to adjust her time and know when to go to bed, and almost always go to bed at the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. We'll get to those problems and how to address or solve them. This one says, what is defined as good sleep? Does taking naps have any good impact on the human system? Right? The nap. Are there specific hours when one must sleep? Let me just take a phone call and then come back to that. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Right. Who am I speaking to?
Nana.
Nana, please go ahead.
So, quick question. See this successful people. I always hear them call people who rest lazy. According to them, if you sleep a lot, if you rest a lot.
Nana, there's a lot of interference. Put off the radio set next to you, and then let's try and hear you clearly. Okay, so start again.
Hello. Can
yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not with the radio.
Okay, there's a lot
Hello,
of...
can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Nana.
Okay, so I was saying, the rich people, they always call people who rest lazy. What does they have to say about that? Because having my own business myself, I understand the stress that it comes to, but I also know that if I don't get the rest that I need, the headache is crazy.
Okay.
So what does he have to say about that?
Okay. So he's saying that people who rest are called lazy, and but he works. Okay. He knows he needs the rest, but he knows he has to work. Any comments on that, Doc?
Definitely. So you work, and of course you have to make time also to have adequate rest.
Okay.
And that is important. I believe if you are probably over resting, then somebody may probably tag you as being lazy, but otherwise everybody makes time to, no matter your schedule.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, and if you're not getting the rest, then obviously you're damaging your health.
Yeah, definitely.
Over time.
You'll be knocked down very soon.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Then somebody was asking, what would you define as good sleep? And are there specific times we have to sleep?
Well, so as we said, depending upon your age, let's say an adult 18 years above, we expecting averagely 7 to about say 9. So assuming you do 7 hours a day.
Okay.
And that sleep is uninterrupted, and you are able to maintain that sleep. You realize that you wake up refreshed.
Okay.
And so not just only that duration. If you go to sleep and you spend 7 hours and it's interrupted, and you are unable to get the rest that we've been talking about, definitely you will not achieve all that benefit that we're supposed to.
Okay.
And so you may still do 7, wake up feeling tired, headache, and still confused, and as if, you need to now sleep more. And such people during the day, even to start with, you're already tired.
Okay.
Yes.
Doc, we hear of power naps and naps, okay, taking a short break for sleep and then coming back. We are told it reinvigorates, it replenishes, restores, rejuvenates. Somebody's asking, this nap thing, some of us, we take the nap, Charlie, we can't control it. So what is a nap, and why, or what is its impact on everything we're discussing?
Well, normally sometimes you may find that you get too tired and you can't concentrate on task. And so in that situation, if you break and take about, let's say, 20 minutes to just doze off a bit, you wake up and you feel rejuvenated.
Right.
Provided that this person doesn't have some of the sleep disorders we may talk about, because some people, when they nap a lot during the day, the whole night is off.
It becomes a symptom of something else.
Yes.
Daytime sleepiness.
Definitely.
Right. So, hypersomnia.
And every time they feel that they need to doze off, and the slightest time they want to doze off small, and so on. So that one too may have a problem.
We will probably need to talk about that.
Yes.
So whether your nap is voluntary or involuntary is what Doc is saying.
Yes.
If your body says, hey, Yanko, that is different from you deciding to take a nap and controlling its duration and coming back refreshed. Okay.
Definitely.
Excessive sleepiness during the day is something we are worried and bothered about, okay, on the health and medical level. That's what Doc is saying, all right? Okay, this one says, good afternoon, please. I can fall asleep and any small noise, wake up and I can't sleep again. Please, what can I do? This is from Benis.
Yes, so a number of people, especially adults, spend more of their time in the first stage of sleep. Very light sleep. You are gone, but you are still hanging around. So such people, small disruptions could, wake them up and become difficult falling asleep. In which case, it means that sometimes they may have to control the external environment. And
there are things that are disruptive.
Definitely. So you may have to turn off every noise making thing, and so that you are really going for sleep.
Actually prepare and curate the environment.
Definitely.
Create
for such
the
a person.
ambience for sleep.
Yes, because some people, once they wake up, it becomes a problem falling asleep.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Doc had earlier mentioned that there are different forms and presentations of what we call insomnia. All right. Somebody has a difficulty falling asleep. Somebody falls asleep and then they wake up. They can't sleep. Somebody wakes too early. Right. So we will get to talk about insomnia. If you stay awake long enough, we'll do that. But we also will package some for next week. Okay. So I think I've answered many of these ones. Right, okay. I think I've cleared that. Yeah. So coming back. So sleep is necessary. These are some of the features. There are stages, there are gears. There's, times we will have rapid eye movement. There are times we will dream. Where do dreams come in, Doc?
Yes, dreams usually come during the rapid eye movement period of sleep. And these are, vivid, dreams that people, imagery and so on, that they can really tell. And that happen during. So if you are not getting your sleep to get to REM, the rapid eye movement of sleep, you may not dream, because you need that portion of your sleep. So when somebody says, I don't dream, depending upon their age and so on, the question is, what is the nature of their sleep? Are they able to transition between this light sleep that we are talking about to deep sleep and get to REM or not? Because you need that type of.
Am I supposed to dream? Is it part of the normal architecture?
If you look at the architecture of sleep, then it means that every human being has the capacity to dream, because once you get there, you are likely going to have
dreams will take place.
Yes.
So is the question my access and my retention and recall of my dream, rather than whether I dream or not? The person who says I don't dream, is it because they don't have retention and therefore recall? Is it because
some people
they are not
cannot
able to retrieve the dream?
Yes, some people cannot retrieve because sometimes they wake up. For instance, if you are in repetitive eye movement sleep, and then you wake up around that, you can tell everything.
Right.
Sometimes you realize that you are waking up in a different stage of sleep outside the repetitive eye movement,
right?
And therefore it becomes a difficult. You have to go through and struggle to recall. Yeah, so some people may dream but may not be able to recall it.
All right. Okay, I do know that we can actually prove that everybody dreams or has the capacity to dream,
even including babies.
Yes, your ability, even dogs and other animals, right? We can prove that, right, in the lab and all of that. Somebody says, why do some couples sleep more after sexual intercourse? Were you there? Doc, any comment on that?
That one is controlled by certain chemicals released in the brain, you know, endorphins. These are opioid-like and so on. And makes you to relax and makes you to, you know, sleep so that, you know, regenerate.
Doc, I was hoping you tell this person diufiasem. Some people sleep more after sexual intercourse. You are not saying it is you, and you are asking my guest. Diufiasem, close the window or the curtain, wherever you're peeping from. But great, I love my listeners. But Doc, so all of these things, right? And I'm glad this question came up anyway, even though I think they are eavesdropping or whatever. But some people say, and I do know there's physiological evidence for this, at some stage of sleep, we are all more sexually aroused, okay? The males get the early morning erection and all those things. Does it mean I was thinking hanky-panky, or is it part of the sleep architecture?
Well, that one is part of the sleep architecture.
So it's supposed to happen?
Yes, and usually it happens during repetitive eye movement or sleep.
Okay.
And both sexes.
Okay.
Right. So that if you go through all these things, you dream, but you are not unable to experience this. Sometimes it will be problematic. Maybe there's a problem with the organ itself. Yes.
So there's a stage of sleep where there is sexual arousal. Typically, it is associated with the REM sleep, right? And that same state or type of sleep is also associated with dream activity and a lot of stuff, okay? But Doc, during that, so doesn't it mean that I should be moving around, thrashing around and all that during that type of sleep?
Yeah, what happens is that because you are dreaming, some of the dream may be violent and so on.
Right.
So nature has it that it immobilizes you.
Okay.
And so it's like all your muscles are paralyzed.
Okay.
Okay, so that you may not be able to act out that particular dream that you are having.
Okay.
Yeah, so otherwise a lot of things will happen whilst you go into that. And as we may talk about later, what happens is that some people, they don't get that immobilization where the body is like, you know, muscles are, the tone is reduced and you can't get up, and so they rather get, you know, stronger tone of their muscle, so they can act out that particular dream. Definitely, and it becomes a problem of sleep.
Okay, great stuff. I have a call on the line. Hello.
Hello, Nortey. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Is this Oti?
Oti Boate from Tema.
Right. Share with us.
Yeah, I want to ask Doctor. Sometimes, if I'm tired, I can sleep easily. But if sometimes I go to work, like after 6 o'clock, I'll go to work or jogging and come back. After that, I'll sleep. But if I'm in the bed to sleep, how to watch, like, go my TikTok, go on my phone, do some stuff before I sleep, or something, play games, or read something before I sleep. That's better.
99.7 FM.
Right, Doc. He's talking about, I think, essentially sleep latency.
Okay.
How long it takes him to sleep when he puts himself down or lies on his bed and all that, okay? How long typically should it take us to sleep? And then he's also saying that when he's tired, perhaps it's a bit easier, but sometimes it's a struggle, and he resorts to TikTok and other things to distract himself before the sleep comes, right? So what kind of departure formalities are there for sleep? And should it take some people longer to get on board?
Right, so it varies. Some people immediately they touch base on their bed, you know, even they sit somewhere, they are gone.
Okay.
Right, so but what he said, he exercises before sleep or something
sometimes.
like that. Yeah, but what
he
it
takes
is
a
that
walk.
Yes,
Yeah.
some people, when you do that, it enhances sleep. But if it's so close to sleep, sometimes it also becomes a problem. It may not rather improve your sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely everybody and how they fall asleep. But if you are staying awake, let's say about an hour, you are still in bed, then definitely the latency is rather prolonged, because usually more people within about 15 minutes or so they are
10 to 15 minutes you should be asleep.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And that's an important marker.
Yes.
When we're talking about disorders, or when we get
Definitely,
to the disorders.
yes.
How long it takes you to get
fall
your
asleep.
boarding pass
Yes.
and get to sleep.
Because if you don't clock about 8 minutes is too short. It means that such a person may have
99.7
tendency
FM.
to be falling asleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Oh, am I reading something else? I see a good morning there. Let me scroll down quickly. Okay. My 18-year-old son can sleep for 15 hours but still feel sleepy when you wake him up.
There's a problem.
What could that be? This is from Ben in Nungwa. Doc.
Right, so he
15
needs
hours.
Yes, he needs
If
evaluation.
he was flying, where would he have reached? New York?
You would have reached New York.
15 hours,
Yes,
18 years old.
Yeah, so optimal sleep.
Adolescents can doze.
Yes, those who are in their growing up age, they can, but
Okay.
18 years is an adult, and we predict about 7 to about 9 hours. Okay, but if it's 15 hours, that's too long.
Okay.
Yes, we have to look into what happens during sleep and so on. This is somebody
Right.
who is having an undiagnosed sleep-related disorder.
All right, Doc, I know we've shifted a lot to possibly next week.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. We've talked about normal sleep and what the systems do, the chemicals, the hormones, the external factors like light and so on and so forth. But are there other things that can change these things? For example, I drink coffee, I drink alcohol. Are there things that can impact on this?
Right. So the number of things that can do, even we realize that even night shift or shift work, can alter this pattern of sleep.
Okay.
And then of course drugs that are prescribed medications can alter that.
So your sleep problem could be caused by medication.
Yes,
you're taking
medication,
for something
either
else.
over the counter or even prescribed medication.
Right.
And certain medical conditions or psychiatric conditions can alter that. Definitely sleep disorders that we may talk about later can also alter that. And then habits, as you mentioned, alcohol and other stimulants can definitely also alter this pattern of architecture.
Okay, we know alcohol, Charlie. You may feel fine, but Charlie, when it comes to sleep quality, what alcohol does to you, well, we'll get to those. This one says, at Ultimate Health, I have very serious sleep apnea and sleep hooked onto a BPAP machine. Okay. Doc will explain that briefly. 3 years ago, it gave me deep, uninterrupted sleep for an average of 9 hours, and I woke up very refreshed. Never felt sleepy during the day. These days, however, I get just an average of 5 hours uninterrupted sleep, and wake up still sleepy and unrefreshed. When I don't use the machine, I wake up every hour and I have a very messed up, uncomfortable or irritable day. Why is this happening? Why is the machine giving me just about 5 hours sleep when it used to give me about 9 to 10 hours? I'm in my mid-60s. This is from Na Inosu. Now, I'm glad you shared this, huh? Doc, we're almost out of time, but just quickly, Na has sleep apnea.
Yes.
Just touch on sleep apnea and then why she needs a machine to help her. We'll get more detail next week.
Right. So the type she mentioned obstructive sleep apnea, and where when people sleep, the upper airway closes, intermittently closes and opens, and therefore this particular machine, what it does is that generates pressure to keep the airway patent whilst you are asleep, and therefore all the disruption, the sequelae of that is aborted because of the machine.
Okay.
If she's now having problem with the machine, we need to look at that.
Okay.
Why? Is it because now the pressure range of the machine cannot tolerate the pressure of the airway?
Okay.
Is it the case that now she, for instance, she's probably gain more weight?
That's the one I wanted you to bring in.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So we need to, she needs to be evaluated and then look And then also, how often does he use it? For you to benefit from this machine, you need to use it at least about 80% of your
She's
sleep
been using it for
time.
quite a while. She mentioned 3 years ago.
Yes, so some people, when they are getting better, they don't use it.
Yeah.
And so in a week, they don't use it for about the 80% required.
Right. Great.
So if she's using it consistently, then we have to look at the machine settings and then also her together.
Many thanks, Na Inosu, for sharing that. The fact that you're on a BPAP machine means that you're already having consultation and your sleep problems have already been assessed and diagnosed. Okay, but like Doc, I would be interested in whether you put on weight. Obesity is related to some of these things. We'll get into those next week. All right, your neck circumference and other things are also related. And mind you, listeners, your tongue is one of the biggest muscles you have. And if you are obese, when you sleep and the muscles relax, it falls back into the airway, right? But Doc and I will do justice to some of these things when we come back next week. Doc, it's been great having you. Anything you want to leave listeners with? We kind of established the geography and the physiological and other issues, but now we have to get into the problems and how to solve them probably next week. But anything you want to leave the listeners with?
Well, I want to say that sleep is easily overlooked both by physicians and everybody alike, but good sleep it means good health.
Okay, good sleep means good health, and we'll explain that. Somebody says, my wife is a sleeping tablet. Hey, the moment she hits the bed, she's gone. Oh, then how does she become a tablet? I thought she helps you sleep. Oh, brother, come again. Your wife is a sleeping tablet, and she's okay. She goes, okay, and you are awake. Next week, I will call your number. It's on my WhatsApp. I need to investigate further. But many thanks, Dr. So many. It's been great and very, 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 should I say, informative for us. Sleep is taken for granted. They say the wolf and the lamb can sleep together, but one will not be sleepy. So it tells you that even your state of mind, if you are feeling insecure, if you are sleeping somewhere you should not be sleeping. I've said it. So we'll get into those things. Many thanks to my discerning listeners for all your WhatsApp, your questions, and of course my producer Ziggy Bedu. Stick and stay on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more goodies available. My name is Nortey. I'm out.